Hey everybody, my name's Darryl Bear. Welcome back to Journey to VR. So this week's really fun. I'm going to show you how you can get your Unreal project onto your virtual reality headset. We're going to be using the virtual reality template that ships with version 4.13 of the Unreal Engine. This template was made by Tom Lumen. Tom's actually going to be working with me on my virtual reality project moving forward to add in some really cool custom code, to add in some fun interaction. So make sure you tune in over the next month to see how that comes out. So really what I want to show you this week is how we can use this virtual reality project and all the cool things that it brings to the table. So I've already created a project based off of it, and I'll walk you through that now. So the first thing you'll notice is you have two choices. You can either use the template to set up a head-mount display with a gamepad, or the template can set up a head-mount display with motion controllers like the Vive controller that I have. So I'm going to walk you through that now. So if you jump into the virtual reality blueprint folder, there's a few things in the blueprints that Tom's already coded for us. And this is really what the template's all about. It's giving you a jump start to get some really nice interactions right out of the box. So it's got a pickup actor interface blueprint that allows you to grab things in the scene and interact with them. It's got the motion controller pawn, as well as a head mount display local motion pawn, so the head mount display and the camera kind of all gets linked up. So those blueprints really give you the basics to start building up a VR project immediately. It's super, super cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into one of these levels in the maps directory here that's set up to work with the motion controllers, and I'll walk you through that. So it's a pretty straightforward level, and the first thing you'll notice is if I hit play here in the simulate mode, nothing really happens. And this kind of threw me, because when I hit play I thought, you know, my headset would start working, it would start moving the viewport around, and my controllers might show up, and nothing really happens right off the bat. And if you look down here in the Steam VR, you can see that it says it's ready, but it's unresponsive. The UE4 editor isn't responding, and that really freaked me out. It took me a little bit of time to figure out what was going on, and the fix is actually really quite simple. All you have to do is, instead of hitting play simulate, just use the nicely labeled VR preview. Very, very straightforward, right? So you click on VR preview, and now basically you're in VR mode, and everything basically works here. So you throw on your headset, you grab your hand controllers, and just like that, you know, you're inside of here. The pawns are all working. As I look around here, you get that ghosted line outlining my room scale environment of where I am. If I grab the little trigger and pull these guys, my hands do this little fist clutching thing. And the other thing that it does that's really cool is if you use the circular D-pad, I don't even know what that pad's called, but the circular thumb pad, you can use that to teleport yourself around, and you get this really nice little arcing motion happening here. And the thing that's kind of cool about this is you can also rotate your thumb around or spin your thumb around to orientate yourself. And you'll notice that it does this really nice collision detection on those cubes, and it also does some nice navigational stuff. So you can see that I can't put my box inside of that cube. So really, really cool stuff that's built into the template that just gets you going right off the bat, which is exactly what you want. So let's go ahead and look at a version of this that's a little bit different, that has my environment in it. So let's go ahead and jump back over here into my levels, and we'll load up a new map that's got my room. So this has obviously got the reality captured environment that I started inside of Maya, brought over. It came over through an FBX file. It's got that cool urban logo on there that's got that lighting trick that I showed a few weeks ago, kind of baked into the texture map. And this level has these cubes inside of here that I also brought over from that template. And those cubes have physics on them, and they have some intelligence built into them that you can actually grab them and throw them around. So if I hit play on this, I'm going to go back to simulate mode and hit play. Now I said that they had physics on them, and you'll notice when I hit play, they just disappeared, and that's not cool. And the reason that happened is because my collisions are set up incorrectly on my room. Another thing that you'll notice if I go back into VR preview mode and kind of start moving myself around here, if I try to do that teleport trick, you can see that I'm not getting that cool arcing thing happening. Like I get my little box, but I'm not getting any collision detection on my environment as I try to teleport myself around. So that's also broken from this piece of geometry, the room geometry, having the wrong collision type. So how do you fix that? It's actually really, really simple to fix. All you have to do is go back to that actor, or back to that mesh, that static mesh, double click on that guy, and if we kind of zoom out here and turn on the collisions, you can see that there's a simple bounding collision happening, and then there's a more complex polygonal-based collision happening. And what's happening is, by default, it's using that big bounding box, and we're kind of inside the collision, and it's just not sophisticated enough to pick up what's going on. So to fix it, all you have to do is go down here to your static mesh and switch it from project default to say, use, instead of just using the simple mesh, the outside mesh, use complex collision as simple. So as soon as you turn that on, you can see that now that simple mesh is also lining up with the polygons of my object. And all I have to do is hit File Save on that guy, on this editor, and close that guy down. And now if we go back into our preview, you can see that those cubes dropped and they didn't fall through the wall. So that's really cool. Now here's where the fun stuff happens. Let me reposition myself sort of over here. Actually, let's just face this way. We'll reposition myself. Where are my cubes? Where are you guys? Oh, here you are. Ooh, I'm in the wall. I just smacked my wall there. Let's go down there and we'll kind of grab that cube. So I can pick these guys up. And this is so cool. So you can pick it up, you can throw it, you can grab it with the other one, you can toss it. And that's really what that grab interaction is all about. And you can throw it over here on those steps. Amazing. And the template just has all that built in, which is so cool. So how do I add that functionality onto other objects that maybe that I have in my scene? Well, let's go ahead and get some other geometry in our scene. So we'll jump over to Max. And inside of Max, I've just got this little VR logo from the Journey to VR logo that you guys saw previously. We're going to export that stuff out as a game export. So you just say game export. We'll call it VR2. That's fine. It's going to go to my test import directory. Done this before, so we'll overwrite it. The export was successful. So now we can jump back over. Here, we can actually minimize Max. I want to minimize that guy. So we'll jump back into Unreal, and we'll just do a simple import. So that was an FBX file that got exported out. So if we jump back into our VR test import, we'll grab VR2 on that guy. So that's going to bring in everything. We'll tell it to generate collision, import all. Very straightforward. So now we can just drag and drop this into our scene, and there is our little VR logo. Pretty straightforward. So what we need to do is we need to add on all that cool, little blueprint-based code that these cubes have onto this object. So how do you do that? Well, you'll notice that these cubes all have this edit blueprint pickup. That's their blueprint that's been added to it. And my VR2 little logo that just came in is just a static actor. So what we want to do is we want to add on to that guy a blueprint, and we'll just put it inside of here, and we can leave it in the content, that's fine. So we'll create that VR2 blueprint, pretty straightforward. And the first thing we need to do is add a new class onto it. So if we go into our class settings here, you can see that we can add an interface class on this. So we need to add in the blueprint that Tom put together for the pickup action, right? The interface action. So we're going to say add, and if you just go and start typing pickup, you can see that the pickup actor interface gets filtered out. So we've added that on now to that object. Pretty straightforward. So we can save that out. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to add the code into the event graph for the actions that we want to have happen. So instead of trying to program that myself, I'm just going to copy and paste what Tom did. So if we just click on this guy and bring up this, you can see that there's all the code we want to grab, and you can see there's an event pickup and an event drop. So we're going to just copy paste that, really straightforward. So just highlight that stuff, Control C it, then we can jump over here to our blueprint we just highlighted the blueprint for the VR2. So we can kind of go over here and just paste that in, and obviously I can kind of move that down and just hit save. So now that we've done that, we're getting pretty close. So the next thing that we need to do on this guy is make it have dynamics move it. So if you come down here to simulate physics, we're going to turn that on. That will switch its type to movable automatically, and we also need to tell it to simulate the collision events. So with that done, now if we play this guy back, you can see there goes our little cubes dropping down, and obviously we've got our VR logo down here dropped, and if I just come down here and grab that guy, I can start to play around with this, and that's it. So that is super cool, and then obviously if I don't like it, I can just toss it. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about this week. Super fun. Hope you guys are enjoying Journey to VR. If you're watching this on Vimeo or YouTube, make sure you go back to the area. On the area, there's a Journey to VR blog section, and I'm doing lots of demos on that. I'm interviewing customers. We have amazing written articles that also share best practices from our customers and things that they think are super cool about VR. So I really appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much. Cheers.